Hallo alle zusammen, wir machen heute weiter mit einer ganz kurzen Stunde und es geht um Verben und Nomen. Hi everyone, today we're going to keep going with some grammar and you are specifically going to have a short lesson on verb-noun combinations and verb-verb combinations. Okay, so verb-verb and verb-noun combinations. Now what that means is that we use some verbs and nouns together on a regular basis and they function a little differently in sentences. And on the same token, we use some verbs with other verbs together and they function a little different in sentences. The two, lucky for all of you, function exactly the same way. So you only have to understand the structure one time. Now the way this usually works is we have some specific verbs that like to stand with another noun. And that noun is usually a noun object, but it has a lot to do with the meaning. So you guys have learned the word fahren. And fahren means to go by motor or to drive. But if you paid a lot of attention when you were doing your vocab, it also means to ride. Now, when it means to ride, we're talking about bikes, right? And you guys have the noun Fahrrad, or the short version of that, Rad, right? That's the same thing. So, fahren and Rad, or Fahrrad, these words stand together on a regular basis. So you could have a sentence like, Ich fahre gerne, or don't worry about that I gern, am Montag Rad. And I could also say Fahrrad, it doesn't matter which one you choose. Okay, so you have your verb in second place, conjugate it the same way you always conjugate it. Okay, standing in second place. And you have your noun that changes the meaning a little bit at the end. Okay, you have the noun at the end. Now whenever you have this combination, we have a infinitive for this, and that would be Radfahren. Okay, Radfahren is the infinitive. And of course that means to bike, or to bicycle, to bike. So Radfahren is an infinitive. Now why is that possibly important? Remember we talked about modal verbs? And when you use modal verbs, you have to know what your infinitive is. So this would be an example of your infinitive. So I could say, Ich kann, there's my modal verb, I am able to, gut Radfahren. Okay, so Radfahren again means to bike, or to bicycle. So I can good bike. So I can bike well, or I ride a bike very well, is what this means. Okay, so when you're conjugating it, you have the verb in second place, and you have the object, the noun that goes with it at the very end. That structure is exactly the same way that you've been doing it so far, but you have to know that this is the infinitive. It works as an infinitive phrase, and that goes at the end whenever you have the modal verb in second place. Okay, let me pause for 1 second. Okay, so here are some more, or one is there again, but we have spielen and laufen. Specifically, spielen is the one that you should already know some of these phrases for, because when we did the sports, this is exactly what we did. So we had Fußball spielen, Basketball spielen, Tennis spielen, Karten spielen. Anything that we use the verb play with is going to function this way. So this would be my infinitive phrase. Then we have laufen. One of the things that you guys have learned is Skilaufen. Another one is Schlittschuhlaufen. So Skilaufen should be obvious. Everybody repeat after me, Ski. I know that's a little hard. And Schlittschuh is ice skates. So this is ice skating. Okay. Now, for fahren, you could of course also do Motorrad, fahren, in addition to the Radfahren, bicycle. So, the reason we're doing this now, right after the separable prefix verbs, is because they kind of function the same way. Even though it's a noun-noun combination, or a noun-verb combination, and not a prefix verb, it does the same thing. It modifies the meaning, and the thing that is in the front when you have the infinitive gets kicked to the end of the sentence, just like your prefixes do in the separable prefix verbs. Okay, so I said at the beginning that the verb-verb combinations function much the same way, and they definitely do. So one of the verbs that we often use in verb-verb combinations is gehen. And of course just means to go. Now when we use it with another verb, we might have something like joggen. So joggen, gehen is your infinitive. And that means to go jogging. Another one that we've done already is schwimmen, gehen, to go swimming, as opposed to just schwimmen, to swim. Schwimmen gehen. And another really important one in German, because we do this every day, is spazieren gehen, to go for a walk. So when you go for a walk, ich gehe spazieren, spazieren gehen. So these function the same way as the sentence did up here, but I'm going to write one for you so that you guys have something to reference. So ich conjugate the second verb, so the one that's at the end here, just like with the separable prefix ones. Nachmittags gern, and then we're going to do spazieren. So spazieren. Ich gehe nachmittags gern spazieren. So your verb is in second place. Let me write that in as well so it's a little easier to see. Spazieren. Now keep in mind you're only conjugating, I think that's hard to see, I'm sorry. You're only conjugating the verb that is in second place. So that second word is the one that gets conjugated. This verb, the one in the front, even though it's a verb, it's going to stand at the end as an infinitive, because in this case it functions like a prefix. It functions just like your prefixes did. So make sure that you have it standing at the end and that you have your en on it. Okay, now you guys are going to do a workbook activity to practice this a little bit, and that is page 117, and it's exercise A4-11. In that exercise, you're looking at a little chart, so pay attention to the chart. And the chart tells you whether or not you're answering yes or no. So if there's a check mark, it's going to be a yes, yeah. If there's no check mark, it's going to be a no. And you have to figure out which verb goes with it based on the questions. So they did the questions for you. Sometimes there's modals, sometimes there's not. Make sure you pay attention to that. All right?